Hey everybody! Welcome to Rehash
Howdy.
the Rolls tonight. Hope you're having a wonderful time, having a good Wednesday. It is Wednesday.
That's the day.
That is the day that today is. I feel like this week has gone by kind of fast, which I appreciate.
I don't know what I feel about this week, but I'm ready for the weekend. I have a shift. My shift at work is 6 a.m. to 2:30, and starting next Monday it'll be 9 to 5:30. So I'm really excited to have a normal person's sleeping habits and
I don't
work
have to wake
schedule.
up in the dark anymore.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, how you doing? How's Ian?
Ian is good.
Uh-huh.
Little don't understand my cameras we were just talking about, but other than that, Ian is great.
Tech is weird. We'll figure it out someday, right? Someday. I've been actually having an issue with this camera where like sometimes it'll just disconnect. It's still plugged in and everything. It stops working and I have to like unplug it and replug it back in. I don't know why, but oh well. Anyway, it hasn't been that long since you've been on Rehash. It's only been 4 weeks, right? Like it was you and then it was
I was
Adam,
gonna say about a month
again.
Hey.
But strangely, there is a lot to talk about. I did write down some questions and stuff, but a lot of it is just going to be like, let's talk about the stuff that has happened. And I might keep doing that, just like, this is the stuff that's happened since you were last on the show. And we'll go in chronological order to that. Adam says I'm quiet. Okay, I'll try and get closer to my mic.
I can hear you, but I don't know if it's just coming through differently on Discord or what.
I think I also have you turned up really high, so just in comparison, I'm really quiet. Should be better now. Let me know if it's still too quiet. I will try.
Testing.
I'm gonna try and like, you know, these streamers that they're like right up next to their microphones the whole time.
Like ASMR.
Or just, you know, they have it like turned so that it's not too loud, it's not too quiet, but they're just like right here the whole time. There's a lot of streamers and YouTubers I've seen that do that. I don't like to do this because I want to be able to see. Anyway, okay, let's get into these questions because we've got a few. Very first one. This is from like not last week. This is from a couple weeks ago. Is Pyotyr in any way religious? How does he feel traveling and working with not one but two Aasimar?
He's not particularly religious. He, as far as the Aasimar thing goes, I mean, he's not particularly religious, but I mean, obviously it's kind of baked into the culture that he's in and things like that. So I guess he's got a surface level religiosity, one could say. And as far as the Aasimar thing is concerned, to Pyotyr, this whole thing, like the fact that he woke up in this strange place, like that is weird. And then, of course, there are these like angel people as well, and he's like, well, that's weird. I'm like, it's like if you get abducted by aliens and then all of a sudden there are like angels there too, and you're like, I don't know what's weirder. This is weird though, and we're gonna roll with it. Pun intended.
I wonder, kind of like, so Pyotyr, he's been a diplomat for a while. He knows how to deal with different groups of people and make people get along, even if they aren't typically able to. How is he dealing with like some of the conflict that has arisen with some of the things going on?
Yeah, he's more used to, I guess, being in institutions where where he understands people's, or at least like, you know, on a grander scale, what motives are kind of going into people's decisions and how they interact with people. So I guess in that sense, like his interpersonal skills don't necessarily track so much with his life experience, just because that was kind of a more high level thing. And so while obviously he does have some skills in that area, he doesn't uh, Pyotyr doesn't feel like he's, other than I guess kind of sort of with Drift, there's starting to kind of be some leeway there, but other than that, Pyotyr doesn't really know what makes a lot of the party members tick, if that makes sense.
It has only been 5 days, right?
Yeah. It's really hard to because we've been doing this for what, like 4 months or something?
Yeah, something like that. I think last week was session 8.
Yeah, which would anyway.
Which compared to some D&D campaigns I've been in, 8 sessions for 5 days is not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
I think performance check, it was 17 sessions for like a week or something like that, week and a half maybe.
Oh wow.
And I think the first 10 was like a 3-day span or something ridiculous like that. So this is not bad. A session a day or thereabouts.
Yeah, not bad. But yeah, so he's still kind of getting the feel for his travel companions. As far as like he's not conflict avoidant or anything like that. So he's fine with it. He's just kind of going along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, I think we finally had to kind of make a decision last week that we were going to stay together, and up until then it was very like, we just kind of have to.
We're gonna leave.
Yeah. If you're getting out, then I'm also gonna get out. But now that we are out, we had to actually have that weird DTR conversation of like, so, are you staying? Where are you going?
Kinda like you.
I don't know if I have anything else to do right now. What are you doing?
I might as well find out what's going on. I don't know. If you I don't care, but if you're gonna, sure.
If you're gonna go fight the cult of Morphus and like save the universe, like I might as well do that too.
Yeah.
You know.
What
else am I gonna do?
Other people are doing it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't have other things to get to.
Okay. So this is a question about Kadiak. How does Pyotyr feel about Kadiak's new tattletale eye? How comfortable is he with the idea that a super powerful Fae entity will be involved in the party's affairs?
Not super comfortable, especially since, again, like this whole thing is a little weird, and like it's hard to read motives for, you know, the eye seer person and all that stuff. If any of those words made sense in sequence, but so basically,
yeah, a big mush. They worked.
Just like throwing words out of my mouth. But he's not super comfortable about it. But at least it's not his eye.
Yeah. So right now, Kadiak is not with the party, but Maeve said like, oh, he's gonna show up. He'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect there to be a like, maybe we don't want you back, like we don't want this person following us around?
That's a good point. That's kind of an interesting thing. Like, how is the party going to react to like the security camera, so to speak, just showing up again?
Yeah, I feel like we would have had that conversation last week had he been there not been a marriage going on.
Yeah, I certainly think that's something that'll be brought up, and I'm sure Pyotyr will have some things to say, some perspectives to shed.
Do you already know what side of the argument he might fall on?
I don't. Pyotyr. I mean, like I said, Pyotyr reflexively is uncomfortable, but Pyotyr, with the whole, for I'm going to just coin the term, the little Fae security camera thing going on there. So he's reflexively uncomfortable with that situation or that idea, because not only does he not know Kadiak and exactly what his intentions are, he definitely how do you even comprehend the intentions of a Fae creature?
Mm-hmm.
and so he's definitely uneasy about that, and we'll definitely have some things to say. However, with his background and the work that he's done and dedicated his life to, he's a compromiser, if that makes sense, and a listener.
And it's not like the interactions with Maeve have been bad. Like, she has not attacked us. She sent us to a dangerous place, but it was so we could get something that we ourselves wanted. So I feel like it's more like there's suspicion that's already there of like what could happen, but so far there's not been anything to be like, oh, she's gonna ruin our lives.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's how I see it.
We'll yeah, and it's like, which is where like that uneasiness comes from, because it's like, what are we getting? Like, what is she getting out of us? Because obviously she's getting something out of it, out of us. But what is it? The party hasn't really identified that, and so it's like exploring those possibilities and figuring out where those intersect or counteract the aims of the party. And really, I think as time goes forward, probably kind of have to decide, and that's kind of what our unified goal is, but
and I mean, right now, what is the aim of the party right now? Even like we said, we're just kind of like, oh, we're not sure what's going on.
You're sticking around, I'll stick around, we'll find some stuff out. It'll be cool. Yeah,
we'll have some questions, we'll read some books.
And so as that gets solidified, and then we kind of understand that, and then hopefully in the process kind of figuring out what Maeve wants, then we can figure out if we're going to amputate Kadiak's eye or something.
I do think that like if she gets pushy really soon, that could cause the party to splinter, because like right now there's not firm ties holding everyone together. So if it's stay in this group with people I barely know and get pushed around by a Fae, or leave and go do my own thing, which I've already been doing for a while, that could be, if that becomes the choice really early on, there might be some people who take that other choice, which would be drama. But yeah, there was a question to Patrick about the eye, of whether or not she could use it as a mirror, and Patrick said yes, she could. That's the one and only reason. It's like in The Prisoner of Azkaban when Hermione sees herself, she's like, is that what I look like from the back? Oh, for me. Cool. I think we answered that one pretty well. Though this next one is also about Maeve. Pyotyr is the only party member that didn't ask Maeve a question, choosing to save his for later. Do you have any plans for what this question might be? How long do you expect to hold on to it before asking?
So metagame-wise, I legitimately could not come up with a question that would suit Pyotyr. And honestly, now in character, I would say that Pyotyr realizes that this is something that it could potentially have a lot of importance, either in his life or in his current journey and goals, and that he needs to kind of figure out what's going on and how best to utilize this kind of one-time gift thingy that he's been given. He just doesn't want to squander it, and he doesn't feel like what's your middle name is gonna be super important. There's not a whole lot. I feel like a lot of the other characters in the party had a lot of questions related to their backstory. He doesn't have a whole lot of those. Pyotyr doesn't. There are things, obviously, that the audience and the other players will be finding out about him as we go forward, but he is not, at least as far as he's aware, unless Patrick's got some weird stuff up his sleeve, there's not a whole lot about his life that is super mysterious to him.
Yeah, it's fairly, like, he understands it pretty well. I had not even thought of the possibility of saving the question for later. I was like, oh, what do I do? Like, the burning questions were there, and so there was not a thought of, like, maybe I should save this for a better question later that I might need. Something that I can't answer, because the question that I asked was something that I could have answered if I had just waited and done the work myself, instead of, you know, having a question that I could never answer. So I thought that was, like, when you decided to, like, not ask, I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. That's really smart. You sneaky bard. Will Miss Fodder is interrogating Patrick in chat about Maeve and her middle name. Oh, goodness. Apparently she does not have one. She has no need for one.
Patrick,
all right.
I'm sure there are a lot of Fae named Maeve. So maybe she should get one. Anyway, sorry.
Maeve Louise. And I don't even know if she has a last name. I don't remember one. Cool. Next question is, there was a bit of debate last week on whether the party should have told the villagers there was a way out of the valley. Do you think it was a mistake not to do so?
Yes, well, Ian does, definitely. Pyotyr can see that both ways. Again, kind of going back to the sorts of things that he did before he was abducted by aliens or whatever. He understands that there's a need just for things to run smoothly and things like that in societies. He understands that there's a need for certain people to have access to certain information and for others not to have that same access. But again, he's not I guess he's kind of conflicted. He's not really sure what's going on. Like, I guess there was a fear that, you know, if everybody just started going through, like, the exit that we had found, that it might potentially, like, oh, hey, people are, like, finding this, let's close it now, and then we wouldn't be able to utilize that. But I don't know, to Pyotyr, it's just kind of like still trying to kind of figure out what's going on, and therefore, like, what the moral and just, like, logistical implications of different things are.
I don't think that they could have gotten out. I don't think Maeve would have let them out. That's my personal thought of just, like, I feel like even if we had told them, probably would have just made things way worse. They'd show up and be like, all right, we want out. And she'd be like, no, what are you talking about? And then they get really mad. And then we'd have a riot or a revolt or something. But, yeah.
True.
Most about is let's get out and do stuff. I did notice the little dig that Artyom gave Zhelanya of, like, oh, you agree with me that we don't need to tell people relevant information about their situation this time. I was like, dang. Hypocrisy. I am a hypocrite. What? It's different this time.
Such is the human condition.
Tiefling condition.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the tiefling condition, but the human condition.
A whole different thing. Nah, her thoughts on that were just like she had connected with the family when they'd, like, gone, and she'd talked to the Banshee for a long time. She'd connected with them, and so she kind of cared. She doesn't really care all that much about the royal they, whatever you want to call that ambiguous them that lives in the village. She's just like, we're done, let's go. Like, they're happy enough, you know. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Not like they're starving to death in here. He was totally okay with just ditching out on them. Those losers. That's a mean way to say it.
I don't even know you guys' names. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. Like, people, like, when we learn people's names and we know their faces and they're distinct to us from, like, the rest of society,
yeah,
we're much more likely to humanize them specifically rather than just like a group of people.
Yep. Definitely. Okay, now we're on to the Pyotyr thing. The specific Pyotyr thing from last week. Pyotyr came almost completely clean about the murder he committed, while leaving out some possibly important details. And the rest of the party didn't seem to have any objections. Is he comforted by this, or is he suspicious of this?
Suspicious? No.
It doesn't. Like, he's not like, right. Oh, these people are totally fine with murder. They're probably all murderers too. Like, that's fine.
Oh, I mean, it's like, let's just imagine, right? Let's imagine that, like, literally is the case for Pyotyr. Like, you killed someone, and then somebody finds out, and they're like, so what happened? And you're like, well, I slipped and fell, and there's a knife, and now they're dead. And they're like, oh, okay. I mean, that's weird, but at the same time, you're like, oh, all right.
I'd be concerned if they were like, yeah, that old thing. That thing that happens all the time is like, does that happen to you all the time? I'd be a little concerned. Or just the fact that they're like, oh, that's, you know, they kind of like placate you, and then in the back of their mind, like, I'm calling the cops right now. You know?
Yeah, nothing is wrong. Okay.
So just great, serial killer friend.
Want a root beer? You just sit there for like 15 minutes and it'll be great.
Yeah, but so he was comforted by that.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, he understands the precarious, like, worst case scenario, they're like, you're a murderer, we're gonna kill you. Second to worst would be, you're a murderer, you can't be our friend anymore, or you know, our travel companion, whatever we want to call this arrangement. And then, like, best case scenario, I guess, is full disclosure for Pyotyr anyway. Full disclosure and full acceptance. But anything short of like them delving into that situation, and whether it's finding information that they're not friendly to or whatever the case may be, and reacting adversely, or whatever the case, you know, anything short of the kind of at least tacit acceptance that Pyotyr has found at this point, like, that is way better than he could have expected. So, like, let's just roll with that as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking to the priest who hears that sort of stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
I think the response of, like, it's your job to, like, repent and fix it is not... It's a decent one of just, like, if you feel as bad as you feel, don't feel worse, but don't sit on it and do nothing. That gives you a lot of freedom to choose how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's I think at this point, whether or not the group continues to push on it, but you did hold back some things, right?
Yeah. And Patrick let some of that slip on accident. We still love him if he's watching. And I guess since that cat is either out of the bag or it's not super important plot wise. That was more of a role-playing decision that I made. So, like, our team was talking to me, and he assumed that the individual that Pyotyr had killed was a man, which is incorrect. And so Pyotyr was like, well, that's slightly better than what actually happened, so I'll just go with that. And then Patrick was like, oh, it's a girl. And I'm like, well, yeah, Patrick, I know that. Which, again, to be fair, you can never be sure with my brain, so.
Hard to know. But so was this a non-specific person, or is this a person with like a name and a face and a file in Patrick's like file folders of people?
Oh yeah, Patrick. This is pretty. What's the word? This is a major event in Pyotyr's backstory. So
okay.
So I'm sure we'll see more about this as things go forward. I.e., next session when Patrick just, because literally I had I was just like cruising along, and then Pyotyr got accused of murder, and I was like, well, this is where this starts.
You're gonna run into that person's sister like in town, just be like, have
you seen what's her face? Yeah. Like a week ago, I was kind of hammered, and like I went to I don't remember, I don't know where she is.
Oh no. And because you run in high circles, this is gonna be a problem. I know it is. Well, at least I know who to blame when things go wrong. Because everybody knows there's no secrets about that. It's not like picking and choosing who knows. Everybody knows that it happened. So when it comes out like who it was, we all know who to blame.
Yeah. Yep.
Be ready for that responsibility. Okay, this is the Corvette thing. What does Pyotyr think of Corvette's friends and girlfriends? That's a question from Low Miss Fodder.
He's a little, like, granted, like, sometimes, like, Ian forgets that, like, in game, they've literally only known each other for, like, 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Pyotyr's like, because, obviously they're protective of Corvette, his little entourage, as they should be. That's kind of their job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, again, Pyotyr knows the drill and all of that with those sorts of things, but he also recognizes, like, at some level they've got to like drop the act, so to speak, a little bit. It's like, listen, we've been with this dude for like 5 days. If we wanted to kill him, he'd be dead. Like, we weren't even like in this universe, potentially, maybe, question mark, for at least some of that. And so yeah, he sees it as a little bit maybe performative, a little over the top, but at the end of the day, he understands they've got a job to do. That's what they're sworn to do. So he gets it.
Was it a surprise, the reveal of like who? Because like, I don't know whether or not it was said, but it was incredibly obvious that Corvette was a noble person. Like, he was a rich, important person. But the extent to which he is a rich, important person, it was revealed last week. And how much of a surprise was that? And what complications do you think that's going to bring?
Good question. Hadn't really thought of that. I mean, again, I guess, like, as far as Pyotyr's concerned, like, it's not like he hasn't interacted with people of that stature before.
Right.
Yeah. So for him, not that it's not kind of random that they just kind of got thrown it together in the way that they did, but like, he knows these people exist and kind of how their circles run and things like that. So he's not like starstruck or anything like that, if that makes sense.
Do you think that Pyotyr will treat him any differently now?
No, I don't think so. Just because, like, I think everybody kind of got the idea that Corvette was a man of means and things like that. Now, obviously, like you said, we didn't really know the extent to which he was important in the greater society, but Pyotyr, like, he's already met the dude, so not much of a reason to treat him differently as such, as far as Pyotr is concerned.
Okay. Like, kind of treat all of them, you kind of treat everyone like they're the same. There's all these, like, winding words and just like, oh, everything's good, everything's chill. Doesn't really necessarily matter
like,
who.
Yeah, still the same dude that Pyotyr met like 5 days ago or whatever. So
no plans to like go to the boyar and be like, oh, I saved your son. That's 30,000 gold, please.
No, well, actually, that actually gives me ideas pertaining to his backstory. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I mean, no, we could use that for sure. I just loved our town just like, oh, does that mean you have money? It's like, oh, yeah, he's a rich dude. Got money.
Adam said, why are you all nobles? And I will say that originally when I was kind of coming up with the concept for this character, I was like, oh, I think he should be kind of like maybe lower noble or something. Mm-hmm. And Patrick was like, just so you know, like, everybody's playing a noble, so like you can do whatever you want, but like please don't. And I was like, okay, fine. So we rearranged that.
So when it came out that Jelani is a noble, that was not a surprise to you, Ian?
No, like I mean, I probably forgot that at some point. I don't remember what I had for dinner like an hour ago. So.
Okay. Dude, I just had to think about what I had for dinner. I was a mess. Yeah. The interesting one. See, because now we know, like, you're kind of half one, and then there's two of us that are full ones. I don't think Artyom is, unless he's really hiding something. So if it shows up that, like, if there's other nobles in the party, I'm gonna be all like, why are we all on the same, like, same bandwidth? Like, our brains were all in the same place when we're making these characters. That's gonna be some weird voodoo stuff.
Whatever, like, god or whatever kidnapped us, it's just like picking, like, zapping up all the, like, the nobles she
the homeless nobles,
find, and then like accidentally picks up Pyotyr and Artyom and throws us into this weird cave.
That dark priestess stuff.
Yep.
I'm gonna kill whoever that is, probably. Alright, this is the last question. This is another one from Wilma's Fodder. Is Pyotyr nervous about being back in Belgrade?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's nervous about being back in society writ large. I think I can say this without really this being a major spoiler, and I actually may have already mentioned this. But as far as I'm aware, unless Patrick screws with me, which he is wont to do, nobody knows that Pyotyr murdered anyone. Like, the event was witnessed, but he's not famous. Like I said, he kind of runs in higher circles, but he's not famous. So it kind of happened. Everybody was like, oh, what do we do? Because you can't just like take out your cell phone and call 911 in this universe. And so he just like booked it out of the bar that he was in when the event occurred. He went to sleep, woke up in a cave. So this literally was the last thing that happened. So as far as Pyotyr is concerned, he probably got away with it. But at the same time, he's very nervous being back in society again.
But I think you mentioned in game that it did not happen in Belgrade, so it's not like
the
cops are gonna be looking for you in this place. Gotcha.
Right.
And like, So I specifically rewatched the whole episode just to like listen to Pyotyr's story again, and I'm still a little bit fuzzy on. So how did this person die? Like, what caused them to die? Did they because you pushed them, right?
Yeah.
Did they fall off a building, or did they like hit their head on something? I'm not quite sure.
No, yeah, sorry. The canon, I guess. Sorry if I'm changing something, Patrick. Canon in my brain is that they fell off of a balcony. So it was like kind of like
Okay.
they shoved me, I shoved them back. I didn't know, Pyotyr didn't know his strength, kind of a thing, and they fell over a balcony.
Okay.
Or
so it was a fall.
Whatever that's called. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yep.
Cool. Because I thought that was the case, but when I listened to it again, I didn't hear it get specifically said. So I just wanted to make sure that that was what it was. I don't have like false memories.
I apologize for everyone. I meant to make that clear, but apparently role-playing Ian at that very moment could not do that. Because I remember like Artyom saying something like, "But I'm confused. What happened?" And I was like, "I thought I made all this clear." Like Ian was like, "What did I not explain?" But
I mean,
guess
because this has been coming for a few weeks at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you came on Rehash last time, it had already been mentioned that you were a murderer. So you had a full month to be like, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it?
Yeah.
Things get lost. Things get lost all the time.
Things get lost, and then like me trying to like in the moment like say things and figure out like if somebody is like working through this, like how would I say this in a way that like inculpates me as little as possible but at the same time is at least acceptably forthcoming. And
you use so many big words. You just use the word inculpate. I don't think I've ever heard that word ever in my life.
It could be made up. I could have literally made up a word.
I feel like that's one of those things of like there's a word for that in Spanish and you just like turn it into English because you use the word in Spanish.
I'm literally going to look it up. I said a word the other day with accuse or blame. I think I misused it. I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. Someone does, I'm sure.
It works for a diplomat. For someone playing a diplomat, it works very well.
But so yeah, basically he's trying to be forthcoming, like on a surface level, to at least satisfy his party's curiosity, and he doesn't want to leave them in a position where they think he's lying to them.
Right.
But at the same time, he doesn't want to fall out of favor with them. So he's trying to pick his words, and I'm trying to do that in my head, and then it comes out in a word salad that happened when I was role playing it. So that's what's going on.
That is one of the drawbacks of being in a more roleplay heavy scenario, just like because you're trying to think how you're reacting to these revelations, and then you're like, but I'm not my character.
Give me 30 seconds to figure this out. Yeah, exactly.
No, there was definitely some times in the conversation that Lydia and Artyom had right in the beginning where I was like silent for a few seconds, and it's because I was like, okay, hang on, what do I say to this? I have no idea. I need to learn to think quicker. But anyway, that's all the questions that we had for tonight. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Something that we got missed out on? It's been a lot.
I can't think of anything. Honestly, like, I forget about, like, major plot events that happened, and then I'm like, oh yeah, remind me what happened in the last session so that I can roleplay it effectively. So I don't know if you can remember. I should take better notes, but
no,
awful.
I got made fun of by a different D&D group the other night because like of all 8 sessions that we've done, this is all the notes I have. I have this one page, and then like most of one more page, and that's all for 8 sessions. That's all I have. So I was shamed by a different D&D group that I need to take more notes. So Patrick, I will. I promise. And if I don't do them, then I will watch the episode again later and take notes again. Then, maybe.
That's actually a good idea. I listen to like hours a week of podcasts, but I've only ever rewatched or watched, I guess, technically, the first episode because I just wanted to see how my audio was and stuff. Slash listen to my buttery smooth voice. And then, yeah, anyway. I should do that more often and take notes, as you suggested.
I'll do that. That's our New Year's resolution. So that means we have another like 3 weeks to take no notes at all. So Patrick, if anything important happens in the next couple of games, we're not going to have it. Cool. Well, I think that's all we're going to do tonight with Ian. We didn't have anyone to come on as a guest for a performance check, so I'm going to do it by myself just for like 5 minutes or something before we get to crafting, because this is what we're working on tonight. Some new thorns for Jelenia. What we've got. They're very sticky right now. Very ASMR.
Are they? How do you make those?
I'll explain that on the cosplay thing, but it's foam on the inside.
Oh, cool.
Yep. They're not 3D printed. That would take forever. Yeah, we'll say bye to Ian. Thank you so much for coming on. See you next week.
See you guys.
All right.